Abhishek, there is some big breaking news coming in that I'm just going to share with our teams right now. And I request you to stay with me because it involves you as well, Abhishek. The story that I'm breaking right now, and in fact, it's a story that's evolving. We'll just put it on our screens as well. As far as the Teesta Setalvad, story is concerned, we have a big breaking news update, Abhishek. There's a very big breaking news update, and I'd like you to stay with me in the course of the broadcast because Priyanka has also accessed the details of the FIR. You have also shared the details, and I have the details with me. And this FIR says, Abhishek, I'm just reading from it. False evidence, even in the Nanavati Commission, evidence suggesting that Teesta tutored Zakia Jafri for personal gains and made false statements during the course of the SIT. And these are very serious charges, Abhishek. Very, very serious charges.
Well, absolutely, Niranjan. In fact, I have the copy of the FIR, and in many cases it quotes the Supreme Court verdict also and says that the said matter pertains to complaint submitted in the name of Srimati Zakia Jafri dated 8 June 2006 to the DGP of Gujarat, and it talks about tutoring her. It talks about misusing facts, or in fact falsifying facts. It talks about using some disgruntled officers of Gujarat police in a coalesced effort to malign the state, create sensation by making revelations which were false to their own knowledge, which means Teesta knew that all this information that she is using is false, and yet with the objective of sensationalizing, politicizing and maligning the Gujarat government at that time, she still used them. The falsity of their claims had been fully exposed by the SIT after a thorough investigation. Intriguingly, the present proceedings have been pursued for last 16 years from submission of complaint in 2006 running into 67 pages by filling protest petition dated 15th of April 2013 running into 514 pages. So the falsification continued to a level where it began with a 67-page complaint in 2006, and in 2013 it turned into a protest petition of 514 pages. And Niranjan, this is an FIR filed by an inspector of the Ahmedabad crime branch before the Gujarat ATS, based on which the detention has happened. If I could read further, it says that order of the Honorable Supreme Court of India, after careful consideration of all reports submitted by the SIT, the opinion given by the learned amicus curiae, accordingly we direct the chairman SIT to forward a final report. I think it just keeps quoting, Niranjan, extensively from the Supreme Court verdict, and towards the end the FIR says that since the above information reveals commission of offence under sections as mentioned below, an FIR read over the complainant informant, which is the police inspector of the Ahmedabad crime branch, and the accused is named as Teesta Setalvad, and others under sections 194, 211, 218, 468, 471, read with 120B, which is conspiracy of the IPC, and action be taken. Following which we have already seen pictures, Niranjan, of Teesta Setalvad being detained in Mumbai by Gujarat ATS, and she would be brought to Ahmedabad. I am reading again from the last para of this FIR. Niranjan, if you can go further into the details, it talks about Sanjeev Bhatt and RBC Kumar, the two officials, the two officers of Gujarat Police who conspired and connived with Teesta Setalvad according to this FIR, and had conspired to abuse the process of law by fabricating false evidence, Niranjan, to make several persons to be convicted for an offence that is punishable with capital punishment. It was a conspiracy of the scale where Teesta, along with these officers, conspired to get them convicted in an offence where the ultimate punishment could have been death penalty. And that's why it's a serious crime. It names R.B. Srikumar, Sanjeev Bhatt apart from Teesta, Setalvad, and gives detailed role of what these three did taken together, thereby have committed crime offences inter alia, punishable under section 468 and 471 of the IPC. This FIR may kindly be registered not only in the context of above material and other materials, judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court referred above, for finding out the behind-the-scenes criminal conspiracy and financial benefits, inducements for commission of various serious offences in collusion with other individuals. Essentially, this FIR is about now finding the conspiracy behind the actions of Teesta, Setalvad and these Gujarat police officers in pursuing the conspiracy angle in the SIT closure, in the Gujarat riots, who was behind them, who was funding them, who was inciting them, who was conspiring, who was coordinating. All these aspects would now be investigated, Niranjan, based on this FIR of Ahmedabad Crime Branch with the Gujarat ATS, and of course in the light of the Supreme Court verdict that has come in, Niranjan. And of course we saw earlier in the day the Home Minister mentioning and quoting from the same verdict, naming Teesta, Setalvad as someone who was behind this attempt to malign Gujarat establishment of that time, to conspire, and as the FIR says now, that an attempt was made to get the people at that time punished for a crime with highest punishment of death penalty. And that's a serious crime in itself, and based on false documents, falsification of facts, conspiring, tutoring witnesses, all this and the conspiracy behind this would now be investigated, Niranjan.
Abhishek, I have that excerpt of the FIR here. If I can just tell our viewers a little bit about the operative part. Offences illustratively stated herein above established the Sanjeev Bhatt, R.B. Srikumar, Teesta, Setalvad. I'll repeat. Sanjeev Bhatt, R.B. Srikumar, Teesta, Setalvad and others had conspired to abuse the process of law by fabricating false evidence. To make several, I'll just reduce the volume there. So the process of law by fabricating false evidence to make several persons to be convicted. So basically the charge is very serious against them, that they fabricated false evidence. Abhishek, I think these are extremely serious charges. I'm just writing it down. They fabricated evidence, and this was to target the Prime Minister. And also in the case, they fabricated false evidence to make several persons to be convicted for an offence that is punishable with capital punishment, thereby committing an offence punishable under section 194 of the IPC. Further, it's established that Sanjeev Bhatt, Srikumar, Teesta, Setalvad and others had instituted false malicious criminal proceedings against innocent people with the intention to cause injuries. Now, these are extremely serious charges. Abhishek has been, tracking the story for many, many years now, Abhishek. This has been going on for many, many years. And
well, yes, Niranjan, if I could get to more operative parts of the FIR, Niranjan, it's very significant. In fact, para 7 needs to be brought out, Niranjan. It says that Srimati Zakia Jafri, the complainant, in her cross-examination.
Yes.
And I'm having difficulty reading from the FIR, the fine print, but going back to para 7, it says that, yes, please do that. Para 7, Niranjan, read it, which is on page number 8 of the 10-page FIR. If you can read that, it shows how Zakia Jafri was tutored by Teesta, Setalvad, and that's why it needs to be investigated.
I'm reading it out. It says Zakia Jafri in her cross-examination in Gulbarg Society case had conceded that she knew Teesta for some time and also about having met R.B. Srikumar after the incident. She had stated that R.B. Srikumar had come to Gulbarg Society in February 2002 and upon completion of 4 years, she had met him. She had also stated that R.B. Srikumar was presently working with Teesta, Setalvad. Oh, this is huge. She says R.B. Srikumar was working with Teesta, Setalvad. She had also admitted in a cross-examination that she had given a statement in 2003 before the Nanavati Commission, and after giving that statement, she had no occasion to read the copy of that statement. This indicated that she was tutored by Teesta Setalvad, a fact that she had to admit in the cross-examination. She had also admitted in her cross-examination that she had throughout followed the instructions of Gulbarg Society case. It had been clearly noted that 19 witnesses insisted to take on record their prepared signed statements, which according to them were prepared by Teesta Setalvad and advocate Tirmizi, and did not show willingness to give their own statement. The statements so presented were stereotyped copies, computerized prepared statements given to them by Teesta Setalvad and advocate Tirmizi, and they had merely signed such prepared statements, which means, Abhishek, they typed out statements and they were coached. They were coached what to say to the commission probing the riots, Abhishek, which is a very, very, very serious charge, Abhishek. Going across full frame, it's not legitimate enough, so we'll stay with the windows and the pictures, please. Abhishek.
Oh, absolutely, Niranjan. In fact, apart from copiously quoting from the Supreme Court verdict, the FIR also picks up from the SIT investigation. The FIR also picks up from the Ahmedabad Crime Branch investigation, and comes to this conclusion that the fact of Teesta Setalvad in cahoots with couple of Gujarat police officers and some others was tutoring witnesses as per a certain agenda, as per a certain design, which was about sensationalizing, which was about falsifying facts, which was about politicizing, which was about maligning the then establishment, which was about ensnaring the then government led by Chief Minister Narendra Modi in a legal wrangle, in a legal process, which would become unending and hand like a Damocles sword on Narendra Modi and the government of that time. Remember, the FIR, the first complaint was filed in 2006. It was 67 pages. By the time it turned into a protest petition in 2013, it was 514 pages. And after being rejected in 2018, there was another plea in 2021 December to reconsider the verdict given by the High Court of Gujarat, because of which the Supreme Court verdict of yesterday, Niranjan, observes how even the wisdom of the topmost court of the country has been questioned, despite a very professional investigation having been carried out by a very competent team of officers under R. Raghavan, former CBI chief, who was heading that SIT. The SIT was appointed in full agreement with the complainant, as also agreement and consent by the Gujarat government at that time. So there was full cooperation by the Gujarat government to the Raghavan-led SIT. All the officers, their presence on the SIT was agreed and consented to by the complainant as well. Later it transpired that Zakia Jafri was just a face and a front. All the writing, all the tutoring, all the agenda building, all the falsification of documents, everything was being done by Teesta and her NGO. So that is something which needs to be investigated, that whether Teesta was doing this on her own, whether there was somebody behind her, whether somebody was conspiring along with her. Remember, aside from this fresh investigation, Niranjan, there is already an investigation being carried out by Ahmedabad Crime Branch. Now look at the interesting aspect of that investigation. She is accused by one of her former aides, Rais Khan, of embezzling money or siphoning off money to the tune of 1.4 crore rupees from a grant given by Union Ministry of Human Resource Development of that time, when the Congress-led UPA government was there. Now look at who was the Union HRD minister at that time. It was Kapil Sibbal. Kapil Sibbal's HRD ministry gave Teesta Setalvad rupees 1.4 crores for Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, which according to her own aide Rais Khan, she siphoned off or used for some other purposes, which is being investigated. Remember also that in this protest petition, and that's very interesting, Niranjan,
Abhishek.
It was Kapil Sibal
Abhishek.
who was arguing on behalf of Teesta Setalvad, on behalf of Zakia Jafri.
I think
so it really brings the circle full, and all that needs to be investigated.